The Frozen North, Episode 56, our top 5 games of 2014.
Hello and welcome to episode number 56 of the Frozen North Gaming Podcast. My name is JJ and I'm here with my friends Mark.
My name is Mark.
As you can see, he is a little under the weather. I think you're on the upside at this point though, right?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel better, but I don't sound good.
You sound beautiful.
Did you say,
as
you can see, as you guys can see, they're in listening land. Look at him, Mark. Everybody, I want you to take a second.
You've got the sexy sick voice going on.
That's right.
Like when you're on the upside of being sick, it's like, just not feeling so good. And now I want to listen to some smooth jazz.
That's right.
That's where you're at right now. And I'm here with my other friend, Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian. I think.
That's a great intro right there.
Hi.
Absolutely.
Brian, coming at you, live. Not live.
No.
But you can imagine what it'd be like if I was.
And joining us in the studio today is a voice you've heard on the show before. Matt is joining us today for some talks about 2014 and a game that he is passionate about.
The catastrophe is here.
The Matt-tastrophe?
I like that. I like that.
Oh, man. All right. Well, what do we have on the docket for today, guys?
What's a docket?
It's like a notepad.
Oh. Why couldn't you have just said that?
Maybe, because docket sounds more professional.
Gotcha.
And you ruined it.
Understood.
You ruined it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
As always. Typical Brian.
And Brian ruins it.
Unbelievable. Oh, man. So what have you guys been playing?
I've been playing Final Fantasy XIII a little bit. It's tough. It's kind of tough to keep myself going with this game, especially when I just got Far Cry 4.
Oh, I can imagine.
And, man, I've been
because Far
blowing
Cry
through
4
that
is
game.
good.
Well, it's a game. So that's something. I just love Far Cry 4. It's fantastic. And I'll tell you more later about that.
All right, sounds good. That all?
Yep.
Pretty much? Just those two? What a shocker. Mark played 2 games.
Oh!
And it's been a month.
I'm just going to throw this out to the crowd. I'm going to do this off memory, unlike Mark, who has to read what he's been playing. Right.
It is true, actually. Yeah.
I'm going to literally
He had a docket.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to harken back to what I did this last couple weeks, which was play Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. I'm in the middle of playing that. Fantastic indie game. I'm playing just a crap load of Heroes of the Storm. It's a new MOBA in beta from Blizzard, and it is ridiculously addicting. I have also started a brutal campaign in StarCraft 2 as to get ready for some LAN parties. I'm going to re-hone my skills, so I'm going through the campaign again on brutal, beating it. It's pretty fun, challenging. What else have I been playing? World of Warcraft, my raiding guild raids 2 nights a week. So I've been playing a lot of games lately.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been playing a couple of games. I've been playing a crap ton of World of Warcraft. Probably should do something about that. But I've also started playing StarCraft 2 again. I know that some friends of mine are counting on me to hone my skills, so I gotta muscle up and get good again.
I recommend playing the campaign on brutal. Really hones your skills.
Just start off on brutal. Go for it.
Oh.
Man, you have no idea. Like, my computer will not survive the night if that happens.
Gotcha.
Oh, man.
Well, at least my keyboard.
I'm halfway through. Now, I had played it on brutal before, but I'm halfway through. When I first played through on brutal, it was brutal. I restarted a lot of missions. I am happy to report I've one-shot all the missions so far. So I feel like I haven't lost as much as I thought.
Oh, well, we got a show off over here.
Just saying, like, totally rocked it, yo.
Brian, working on his KDR.
Oh,
my
and
KDR so rockin', bro.
And finally, I have been playing a little bit of the Xenosaga series. I'm replaying it because I think I'm going to go ahead and write a review of it because I love that game series.
It is good. It is very good.
Yeah, it's decent.
The first one's good. I can confirm that.
I can confirm the first one. I have not played this. I have them all. I can go take a picture of them and show them to you, but I haven't played them yet. I have so many games to play. Like, You guys ever heard that problem where you have too many games to play?
Don't you have like 120 games on your list?
My backlog is 120, and my finished is like 150. So
I wish I had that little.
I know.
Well, I mean, I got back from my cruise a couple of weeks ago. That's why we didn't have the last episode 2 weeks ago. But had a fantastic time. I did end up playing 2 games on there. I know I was kind of trying to debate what I wanted to take with me, but I surprisingly played Radiant Historia on 3DS, which was it's really, really fun. I'm actually really enjoying it. And then Final Fantasy X on the Vita, which surprisingly plays amazing on there. That was one of the ones that I was like, I don't know how good this is going to be on a handheld, but I really, really enjoyed it. I got really far just, in the week I was there. Other than that, I actually took a break from World of Warcraft, so I have not been playing too much of that. And I've been obviously playing StarCraft 2 as well, and Heroes of the Storm with Brian and Brandon.
Yeah, it's been fun, man.
It is. I think all 3 of us kind of felt the same way. We weren't a fan of MOBAs at all before this, and then now that we've jumped in, and I mean, it's Blizzard.
I loathed MOBAs. I actually hated them. I thought they were badly designed games.
Yep.
I didn't, I didn't like the whole. It was less of a chess match, more of I'm going to outlevel you, and then. There's a snowball effect. Now, This Heroes of the Storm has a similar effect, but your whole team's affected. So you can get like 3 levels behind, but it's not just you alone. It's your whole team. So you really have to. There's way more strategy. Now, I haven't played the other one, so you could probably send me hate email and say there's strategy involved in the other MOBAs. I did play Dota back in the day, and I tried out League of Legends for like 2 minutes. And then the community literally made me want to burn humanity to the ground. So I was like, nope. But leave it to Blizzard to make a game that's fun, engaging. The community's better, but that's only because Blizzard forces people not to talk to each other. So,
right, and most of the time we just play with people we know.
Right, fantastic.
Marshmallow fluff and unicorns for Brian over here. Can't handle the
his mount is a unicorn actually.
Huh?
Well, what I can't handle is being new to a game and having people ostracize other people for being new. There's really no need for it because we're all playing the game to have fun. And if I'm just starting out, I'm not going to know what to do. And
it's like those people forget that they were once new.
Rather than telling me I'm bad and I should uninstall the game and delete it, why don't you tell me the trick or what you need me to do? But so I abandoned League of Legends. Everybody knows at the Epic bad community. And Heroes of the Storm, you get a little couple bad eggs every now and then, but you know what? For the most part, it's been nothing but smooth.
I think I like the way that Blizzard was handling that in Heroes of the Storm. Don't they flat out disable chat?
Yeah, no chat, and it's only pings, basically. Yeah.
That's amazing. They don't even give people the opportunity to flame their counterparts.
Well, and then that's the nature of MOBAs, and they knew that, so they were like, we're going to just cut chat off. And
No, smart move. I think the other MOBAs should follow suit. Yeah. That'd be fantastic.
If we sound a little different, it's because we're recording from a new studio. I say that loosely. I moved into a new place and got a little second room where we basically set up my desk and all the mics and everything.
Yeah,
and
it's fantastic. In my opinion, we sound better.
Hopefully,
than before.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
I want to
see how
get
it turns
some
out.
time on the system and really see how good I can make it sound.
So Mark's basically going to be sneaking into my place while I'm out.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
sleeping in his bed, whatever.
But we're really excited for this. See how it goes. If you would like to email us, you can do so at frozennorthpodcast@gmail.com. Our website is fngaming.net. We encourage you to go there and check it out. Facebook is facebook.com/thefrozennorth. Our Twitter is @FNPodcast. We have a blog at frozennorthpodcast.blogspot.com. And as always, we are on iTunes, and we would appreciate if you could subscribe to and rate us on there. Mark, why are you looking at your tablet and then looking at me? It sounds like you want to say something.
He's
do
supposed
I?
to
Like you wanna say something.
Yeah. I see the next thing up is the Fool's Lantern reminder.
Oh, that's right.
So the
Go
next
ahead.
episode will be out a week from Monday. We're going to be covering episodes 3 and 4 of Fargo, have an all-new trope for you, and another bad show bingo.
I got to say, Mark will never admit to this, but I'm going to tell you. I think Mark did a better job editing his episode than I have ever done on ours, quite frankly. It's pretty fantastic, and I legitimately mean
thanks.
that. For one, he's got filler in between in between segments. Which is nice. But oh my gosh, when you guys did Bad Show Bingo on there, and you're like, all right, what show are we watching? And somebody goes, Clarissa Explains It All. And then I hear the music come on in the background. Yeah. I was dying. I was laughing so hard, and you guys were just going ballistic on it. It really is good. If you have not checked them out, you guys are finally on iTunes, right?
That's right.
So just look up Fool's Lantern on iTunes and definitely check them out. Just if you're into watching TV shows and Netflix and all that stuff, they're on there. And it's you done me proud, partner.
Oh,
I'm
thanks.
impressed, for real. I mean that. So yeah, be looking for the next one coming up in a week or so, ish.
Yep, probably
Hopefully.
a week from when this episode comes out.
Cool, sounds good. All right, we got one more plug that we want to do, and this is actually for a company that's up and coming called SoPro Gaming. Brian and I actually had the chance to go out and check out their place. They're going to be local here in Kansas City. Basically, how would you describe the business in the building, Brian?
Okay, so if any of you are tabletop gamers, back in the 90s, there were you had your Warhammer shops. You'd go in and there'd be tables, a game room. Well, this place is basically an entire game room. You're going to be able to bring. You're going to be able.
Not tabletop though.
Not tabletop. This is for computer gaming mostly, but there are also going to be consoles, stations. What you do, you can either bring your own rig or go in and they'll have rigs provided for you, gaming rigs, so it's not going to be like your Best Buy.
They've got
Dell.
all Alienware computers.
Yeah, very high-end gaming rigs, high-end gaming chairs. And you're going to have the ability to learn how to play and also play competitive gaming. Basically, your StarCrafts, your MOBAs, LOL, Han, Dota 2, Here's the Storm, all those kind of games. On the console side, you got your Halos, you got your Call of Duties. And the best thing about it is they're going to be people there. So it's not just go and just play. They're going to be people there that are actually going to train you how to play correctly. How to compete, how to get that KDR up, bruh. You know what I mean?
For real, yeah.
Seriously. And we saw it, as it's being constructed, met a lot of the heads behind it. And in addition to that, they're going to be doing things where they're going to have events like tournaments. There's going to be live shows of MLG. It's really a brilliant idea, and they're getting it on the ground floor, which I think is fantastic. Right,
and they're comparing themselves to a company called Ignition, who kind of does a similar thing, and they're really successful. From what I understand, they're up north, and I think maybe back west as well.
Yep.
It really just seems like what the gaming scene needs in order to expand. I mean, most of the games that they're doing are going to be like competitive and that kind of stuff, but it's called SoPro, Social Professional Gaming. So if you want to go there and just hang out and play World of Warcraft, or you want to go there, you want to play Final Fantasy XIV, whatever, and just chill, you can do that. I think the biggest draw for me though is that as long as people are willing to get out of their front door and go to a place like this, you will meet people with like minds. When we went there, we talked to one of the guys, Lee, who is the gamer of the group that's opening it up. Right. And I mean, we literally clicked right off the bat. Right. All of us were just going at it, talking about StarCraft 2.
Exactly.
And Lee kind of looks at his partners. He's like, "Oh my gosh, these guys know what I'm talking about."
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we're so excited for this.
Well, and I think that we talk about those old '90s. I call them tabletop shops, comic shops that have the game rooms. Gamers are a little bit stigmatized as closeted. We can stay home, but the reason those shops started opening up is because you would go and you'd be surrounded by people that had the same interests as you. And that's exactly what SoPro is. It's like, hey, I want to meet people who game, or maybe I want to form a StarCraft team or a team. This is a perfect place to go and meet people who enjoy the game that I like playing.
Absolutely.
And it reminds me of back when I used to play Counter-Strike. It's one thing to log on and play a game on the internet, but if you can get everyone in the room playing it at the same time, it's a completely different experience.
It
Absolutely.
is. Yeah.
That's why. I mean, that's why you have LAN parties.
Yep.
You want to be around your friends while you're playing. Because you can sit there at home with a headset on and stuff like that, but it really isn't the same. Yep. It's not the same as sitting next to a friend of yours and just
high-fiving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They do have a Kickstarter up, and I want to say this is one of the things that I think is the best part. And I was gushing about this to them the other day. I've talked about when we've done spotlights on the show before, and I've talked about Kickstarter and everything, and I'm like, I've always been a big advocate on Kickstarter should not fund your business. It should enhance your business.
Yeah.
These guys are going to be building this place regardless. They've got the money. They've got the means to do so. They already know exactly what they're going to do, where they're going to do it, and how it's going to go. they're using Kickstarter to get their name out there. I think it's a perfect idea. All they're asking for is $1,500. The last time I checked, they were at, I think, between $600 and $700, and there's maybe a little over a week left when this airs. Go on there, just donate, 1, 5, 10, 20, whatever you can, just to help them out. Even if you're not from Kansas City, which is where they're going to be, based out of starting out.
Yeah.
Think of it like, and I know this is how we're looking at it.
Right.
Don't think of it as this is a gaming place for Kansas City people to go. Think of it as kind of a stepping stone for gaming in general. You got to start somewhere.
This is the future. I mean, seriously, this kind of thing is going to start popping up. Gaming is so huge right now.
Esports are going through the roof.
Yeah, and as esports get bigger, these are going to start spreading. So, definitely, if you're local KC, there's no reason not to. If you're a gamer, but if you're living out there somewhere, and you probably won't get to it. Pitch in a little bit here to invest in gaming. That's kind of how I look at it. This is the future, and it's going to start ramping up pretty quickly. I think
they got some good rewards on there too.
Yeah.
So you're still, even if you're not living here, you're still getting there. And if you ever come to KC, you want to hang out with us, I'll buy you a beer, and we can. I don't want to say that because if there's 10,000 people that call me up and want beer,
you're on the hook.
Don't do that.
Natty Light.
I
for
retract
everybody.
my previous statement. I will go out with you for a beer.
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
But. Yeah, I mean, just like I said, look at it as you are supporting the hobby. You are supporting people getting into the hobby. And, when we were kids, gaming really was looked down upon and stuff like that. And it was somebody, you told somebody you were a gamer and they were like, oh, nerd, right off the bat.
Right.
And you still hear that every now and then. But
it's kind of the mainstream now.
Now it's like if somebody says, you're a nerd, chances are they're going to follow it up with, yeah, I kind of am too.
Right.
Because everybody is into this stuff.
Yep.
And again, esports are on the rise. They've been on freaking ESPN a few times already. This place is, like I said, it's going to be just a stepping stone to something much greater. And I think these guys are making all the right moves so far. So wholeheartedly applaud what they're doing. And if you get the chance, please, please, please go to their Kickstarter, donate. The name is SoPro. That's one word, SOPRO, gaming. Just, give them some help.
Yep, absolutely.
Because they deserve it, and they definitely, just like I said, we talked to them, and they've got their hearts in the right place, and we fully support what they're doing. So, cannot wait to see what the future holds.
Betcha.
Cool. All right. News, Brian.
Going to keep it short and simple because we got a lot of stuff going on. I've got 2 articles, and then my friend Matt here has one. The first one is, as you all know, The Order got reviewed and has been getting pretty low scores. But mainly due to what people are saying is an abridged campaign and far too many cutscenes. Play it for yourself. By the time you hear this, it's been out for a few days. I kind of take exception to what I like to call inconsistent reviews. Right. So you'll get a game like Metal Gear Solid 4, which is basically cutscenes, right? And it's loved. It's longer, but it also has longer cutscenes, right? That 45-minute cutscene to name one. And then you got games that come out, and now it's, no, we don't like cutscenes. I haven't played it yet, so I don't want to speak on it, but I don't like how reviews have become so inconsistent, where it's just kind of like, I'm going to give it a 4 because this is why. And then you go back in the reviewer history and be like, but you gave that game a 9, and it was almost the exact same thing you were explaining in this one. So,
yeah,
big deal. And then the next bit of news is a little...
real quick, just on that, I mean... I don't like that that's going to sway a lot of people because people are going ballistic over. It's probably because so many people own PS4s at this point.
My brother played it, and he said, dude, it's one of the most gorgeous games.
See, and I think that because I'm still going to get it.
Yeah.
I think if the only thing, because I haven't seen any bad reviews for it other than the length. That's it.
Exactly.
If that's the only thing holding it back, then I'll probably wait for a price drop,
sure,
but I'll still pick it up.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I just... making a game cinematic is in no way should be a barometer. You know what I mean? That's
a lot of people like that.
Right, exactly. And then our next piece of news, and this is a little bit of selfish news. By the time you hear this, Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse will be on the cusp of being released.
And Brian and I will be locked away for a couple of days.
Nice.
Dragon Ball Xenoverse is releasing on the 24th, which is a Tuesday, I believe.
Yep.
And Dragon Ball Z, guys. Dragon Ball Z. And from what
High five.
From what I've heard, it's got almost every character, an amazing new story where you're actually trying to go back in time to stop some time rifters. Oh my god!
I think you create your own character.
You make your own
too.
character.
Yeah.
4 or 5 different races, and then you basically go back in time and stop really like important events in the Dragon Ball Z universe. I'm like giddy thinking about it.
That actually sounds
It's going
really
to be
cool.
and like the people who have played it have actually said, "Oh my gosh, a legitimate Dragon Ball Z game."
For the first time, I'm like, okay.
It could still totally be garbage.
Oh, absolutely. But
it's Dragon Ball Z.
we played Battle of Z.
Yes,
and we were like,
did.
and it was a garbage game, but we were still giddy.
Absolutely.
And Brandon had no
Brandon
idea what we were
ruined
talking
everything because he wouldn't stick with canon.
Gotta play
Unbelievable. Who fights Frieza with another version of Frieza? Come on.
I mean, really?
Come on, Brandon.
Yeah.
Man, if it's that good, I mean, I liked Budokai Tenkaichi, so I guess I'm going to have to pick this one up.
Yeah.
I
mean,
you can play with us.
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fantastic.
Heck yeah. Matt, you got one bit of news?
Yeah, I got some pretty terrible news. All right, guys, Tri-Ace, the legendary developer of the Star Ocean and Valkyrie Profile series, has been purchased by Napro Japan. They are a mobile game-based company in Japan. I have done some research. The acquisition does not carry with it the IP rights for those franchises. Square Enix basically still owes those, but it will no longer have the powerhouse design team that is Tri-Ace with their beautiful combat systems that we've come to adore over the years. So, some sad news there. I do think that it is important, though, that we can still, at least have those franchises on consoles still. But yeah, anytime that something like this happens and mobile games get a step in the direction of actually invading our space, I get a little nervous.
Nope,
So.
mobile gaming's here to stay, man. Get used to it. We're curmudgeonly and old, so
Yeah, well, I'd
we don't
appreciate
like
it if they would make their own stuff and not
Right.
actually take over the stuff that we already
That's where the
have.
money is right now. That's where the big money is.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't understand the logic behind it. Like, I don't really feel like that they're going to actually do any better.
You're going to
because
get to
they
level 20,
acquired
and then it'll say,
Tri-Ace.
"Would you like to buy
Well-
access to level 30?"
Well, let me
God.
just.
I mean, there's an
real quick-
episode of South Park all about this. The reason
real
why
quick,
it's so
this
profitable.
is why mobile gaming is where the money is. You may not be a gamer, but you own a phone. Okay, a smartphone. Almost everybody I know has a smartphone.
Yep.
And what's available on those? Mobile games. So you may not even be a gamer, but you might be like, oh, look, that looks fun. I'll purchase it for
Yeah, I've got a
$2.99.
20-minute bus ride. I might as
Right.
well do something.
See,
So.
to me, mobile games on a smartphone are like playing a Wii game, but if the Wiimote didn't have buttons on it.
Right.
Like, you're forced to use this horrible control system that hasn't been ironed out yet, and there's nothing to support it.
Gentlemen, we're just old and curmudgeonly and don't like change. So it scares us. But
I don't mind change. I just don't like bad games.
well,
You know what? If we had a shortage of good games, I'd be more concerned. But we still have plenty of awesome
Yeah.
games
Yeah,
every
well,
year.
Yeah.
I'm still worried about the JRPG as a whole. So this doesn't do
My
it any
biggest fear
favors.
is what's already begun to happen. You've got microtransactions on mobile games, which is why a lot of gamers don't like mobile gaming.
Right.
It's already starting to spill over into like DLCs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of. Seeing more of that happen. Because, yeah, if I've got the game, it's great. But if I have to pay for additional content,
Yeah.
come on. All right. Not too bad. We're doing a review today. Oh, boy.
oh yeah, it's gonna get a little bit testy here.
Controversial game.
I can guarantee that we won't have a consensus.
That is true. So, Final Fantasy XIII. Developed by Square Enix. Published by Square Enix. What system did you guys all play it on, by the way?
PC.
PC. Brian?
I played it on the PS3.
PS3?
Pizzle 3.
Yep, me too. PS3. So Mark is the only weirdo.
What?
Well, at least he didn't buy it for the 360. He got to experience all of Snow's facial
His
hair.
brother did, though.
Yep.
Your brother played it on 360. He didn't. You did too?
Bad Marcus.
It's kind of like an affront
He
to everything.
couldn't finish it, though. He wasn't a fan.
I understand.
Oh, I bet you do.
It starts.
Well, hold on. You say that like it's a bad thing, but Mark, if you finished games regularly and then couldn't finish Final Fantasy 13,
That's true.
It would be
That's
like,
true.
oh my god,
But I usually can get further into a game before I lose
Okay.
interest.
that's legitimate. But just saying you didn't finish, it's like,
It's like, well, you don't finish anything.
I just want to say I got 98% of the way through Star Ocean till the end of time.
That's true.
That's true.
You did?
And that was a vastly superior game.
Ooh.
oh
Dim's fighting words.
Wow.
There you have it.
All right. Let's just because of the plot twist, right?
Well, obviously. No, the combat was really good in that game, too.
I agree. I like the combat in that game, too. All right. Well, let's start off with some pros. Why don't Mark and I start, since we probably have the least amount?
Sure.
I'll go first. The graphics, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
The game is drop dead gorgeous. It's phenomenal. I like... This is me being an objective gamer, because as you know, I was not a fan of this stuff.
Sure.
I like that they took a chance with the combat system and did something different. I can appreciate it. Am I a fan of it? Not really. But you can definitely see that they were trying something new. And there's, it's a little more actiony than I would have liked, because reaction time belongs in my first-person shooters, not my RPGs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's about what I got. And I think the premise is kind of cool.
I've gotten a lot of pushback from someone in this room about the combat system, and I kind of agree. We can't just continue to do the old-fashioned turn-based battles for every single JRPG from now to the end of time. We have to try some new things. And the game did try some really interesting new things. I think, well, I'll tell you why I didn't like it when we get to the cons, but it was definitely an admirable risk that they took.
For sure.
I also thought the music was fantastic in the game. And
I think I'm the only one that wasn't a fan of the music.
Really? I loved it.
I have issues too.
Let me hold on. Let me backtrack a little bit. It's not that I didn't like it. It's the fact that all the older Final Fantasies, the music is like the main one of the main focal points. It is a huge part of the game. In 13, it was just background noise.
I thought the title screen music was actually pretty magical.
Yeah, but you're not playing the game. You're not doing anything really.
Yeah,
that's.
The background music. I don't know if I even remember what it sounded like.
Exactly.
Right. But
that's what I mean.
The cinematic music was pretty well done.
There are some songs though that are going on in Final Fantasy XIII where there's vocals,
right,
with
which is
background
weird.
music, which is really weird to me.
Yeah.
So I would consider those particular songs to be misses, but overall the music is still gorgeous in its own right. So I give it a pass.
I guess not memorable to me is probably what I should probably say.
It's not Ronfar from Final Fantasy XI.
No.
For me.
Nope.
Oh, is it me?
That it?
Is that it for you, Mark?
Oh, the voice acting is good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I didn't have a problem with voice acting. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yep.
That's it.
All right.
For me, the graphics, obviously, we touched on that. The music, I'll expand more. And I really liked Lightning as a character. She was almost a refreshing take on a main character from... So with Japanese characters, you have a lot of outward emotion and a lot of So, for an example, Cloud or Squall in Final Fantasy VII and 8, respectively, kind of started out like Lightning, but then just absolutely devolved into just such an emo, existential crisis every minute, always brooding about something, always complaining about something, always being overly melodramatic, right?
Oh, so Hope?
Right, exactly. So that's your typical JRPG main character. They did something different with Lightning. She's actually more she's a soldier, so she's actually very stoic the way she is. You can tell that she's in pain for a lot of the game, but that it doesn't ever... You don't ever have that moment where you get in her head and she's like, "Oh my god, I just can't take life anymore. This life is just I'm just so depressed." It doesn't never ever do that. But you can, the way she's voice acted and the way she kind of acts is you can tell she's a soldier and she's a badass and she's tough, but at the same time you know that she's got some stuff she's dealing with, but she doesn't ever "Oh my god, I'm so sad." You know what I mean? Which I appreciate a lot in games. Subtle character development is one of my favorites. So that she's a big reason. There were some characters in the game that I could have just gone ahead and just get out of here. But as far as
she had the emotional range of Al Pacino.
But that's what
she just shouts and punches people.
Right, but that's what they're going for, right? A soldier, somebody who is hardened and things don't phase her, right? So I thought I
agree with that. I just don't see the background. The other stuff is around her, but I don't think it's affecting her at all. I can't see that at all.
There was subtle stuff in the game, and I haven't played it in a long time, so bear with me. But I remember taking that away from the game.
It's the same in all three.
I also really liked well, that's good. The other two are like that. I also like the combat. The combat it gets complicated near the end where it's paradigm shifts basically. So instead of picking a magic spell or picking an attack spell, you're basically telling your character to switch to a paradigm, and then it keeps the battle flowing very cinematically. And at first, it's really like, this is it. But at the end of the game, it gets to the point where you're actually thinking like 3 moves ahead and switching paradigms quickly, and it was kind of exhilarating for me. So yeah, I think that about covers my pros on the game.
All right. Well, I'm glad that I went last. You guys have already said a lot of the things that I was already going to say. I would like to also mention the way the story is delivered. If you enjoy puzzles, piecing together the story and trying to figure out what's going on, this is definitely a game that you'll enjoy. I personally love doing that. I love doing it in Final Fantasy VII specifically. Although I do think that Final Fantasy VII is a little bit easier to put together than this game, simply because so much of the information you need, you actually have to go into like a submenu and read backstory, which is unfortunate. I kind of wish that some of that stuff actually made it into the game. But overall, I love piecing together what was actually going on with the plot and figuring out the motivations of all the characters. On top of that, I thought that the emotional growth of a lot of the characters was really, really good. A lot of people disagree with me on that, but I agree with Brian. I like the subtle development of all the characters, especially Lightning, throughout all 3 games. You kind of see her just kind of become slowly devastated at the fact that she just can't quite cut the mustard until the very end of the 3rd game. So,
yeah, but you can't. I see what you're saying, and I think well, I guess we can move on to. Is that it for your pros?
No, I mean I like the combat system too, although there are unfortunate flaws with it that we'll get into with my cons.
Right.
By the end of the game, when you're actually doing like the challenge bosses with the hunts on Grand Pulse, that's the most fun I think I've ever had in any RPG ever, and it's certainly the most challenging. I've never been challenged before by a Final Fantasy title like this, ever. There's no easy solution to these fights. You kind of have to think on the fly. There's a lot of dynamic decisions that have to be made.
You also have to play that long to get there.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
We'll touch on that in a
That's
minute.
a problem.
It sure is.
Cons. Are we ready? You want to start?
I can start us off.
Yeah, you can go first.
I can
because
start us
they're
off.
going to have the most on this list.
Right, but let me start us off.
Well, no, I'll just say Final Fantasy XIII.
Let me start us off. So, one of the big problems with Final Fantasy XIII, and I'm judging Final Fantasy XIII as a standalone. I know there's 2 other games, but I'm not.
That's how we're reviewing
right.
it, so yeah.
So, as a standalone game, one of the big things is the setting was cool, but I had no idea why was Cocoon there, what was Grand Pulse. They didn't ever elaborate on that in the first game, right? From that point when I played it, I was like, "Is this so? What? Why? Like, how did it get there?" It's
Really quick,
What?
just something, this was me, like, I actually had a Brian moment when I first played it and saw Pulse and Cocoon so close to each other like that. I was like, isn't there something with gravity that would mess this
Right.
up when 2 planets are really close to each other? I don't
physics.
know.
Well, and by the end of the game, there's really no the story of the game, but I am a person who likes to know the meta. Like, I want to know the world, why it's there, what happened. And I know there's other games that address that, but when I beat the game, I was like, oh, is this it? So the setting was cool. Didn't like the kind of, we're not going to tell you anymore, right? Leaving it open, and then I was like, oh, why? I want to know more.
Well, honestly, to defend a little bit of it, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But like Matt said, a lot of that is actually in the game in the sub-menus that you have to read and
Sure.
do all that
Oh,
stuff.
it's Destiny.
Well, no, you don't have to go to a website.
Oh, that's true.
But
And I never did that.
wholeheartedly agree. I wish that stuff would have been integrated into the
Yeah.
story. I don't want to read through sub-menus if I'm not
But-
already interested from the beginning.
But that goes into my next con. So what do you usually get with a game, an RPG, where you can find that subtext of the meta world, right? You get towns where you can go talk to people.
Yep.
Where you can
Bookshelves.
literally go and say, "Hey, townsperson," and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this town was ransacked by this empire," and you know what I mean? You can get all this little tidbit information by towns. Well, that does not happen in this game. In fact, it is so linear that there's not even branching. Like, it's literally just a corridor.
The whole game is
Well,
like
not
that.
the whole
other
game.
than like three-quarters
Two-thirds
of the way
game. Yeah, 2/3 of the game is a corridor running. So you get no flavor. You get to see the set piece, which is really cool. But you literally get you don't stop and see a townsperson. You don't stop in a shop. You don't go to a new place. It's literally just, I'm going to run straight this way.
They have shops. They're little balls of light that you talk to.
I also found it really humorous when you're in one of these corridors and you come across like an orb that you click on, and then you watch a cutscene and watch like a huge bridge like create itself in front of you, and you're like, oh, so that's this game's version of a puzzle.
Right.
I see. Oh, I won the puzzle. Okay, great. I get to move on.
Yep.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, this puzzle's really complicated. I push this button, and it shoots out a suction cup and then moves the object.
Yeah, it reminds me of Assassin's Creed.
That's a good one-stage
Zing!
puzzle.
Right. So that was compounding that issue with not learning any of the meta world because there's no flavor. You are literally shuffled down, and I think that was the biggest problem that critics had. Is it was you were given a narrow pathway, so you were very controlled on the narrative, but you didn't get to go explore until 2/3 into the game when Grand Pulse opens up, which then it became an actually fun, like engrossing. Oh my god, I can go anywhere I want.
I wanted to explore the crap out of that place.
Right.
Absolutely.
So those were my two biggest cons. I'll move on since we are. I'm sure you guys have some more of my cons as well.
I'll go ahead and jump in here. The biggest con by far is the pacing of the game. Opening up the combat system for you, delivering new types of gameplay. Look at almost any other Final Fantasy title in the franchise, and one of the major characteristics of all those games, the reason why people love them so much, is because the pacing is almost spot on in every single game. You can continue the story basically when you want to. You're only forced to play and like grind random battles for only so long. One reason why I like world maps. But in this particular game, it's just such a treacherous effort that you have to put in to get to the next piece of the story. And honestly, the reward of getting the next story piece becomes tiresome after a while. You want to do something different. You want to accomplish something and progress mechanically in some way, and you're just really never given an opportunity to do so. So yeah, the rewards for the amount of effort you have to put in order to go through the different segments of the game is definitely in need of improvement. Luckily, I think that they did in the other two games, but they didn't really do it very well this time.
I'll let you go last since you are kind of fresh set of eyes, and I think
Okay.
my next one, my biggest con is probably going to be one that nobody else really says. My biggest con was that I don't think it should have been called Final Fantasy. I think, honestly, as much as I rag on the game because I give it a hard time, I played it to completion. I played all three of them to completion, and I honestly liked it. I had a good time, and I appreciate what it did right when it did those things. But Final Fantasy has always been, this series of like magic and scope, and like the world is hanging on by a thread, and in some games, Final Fantasy VI, that thread breaks. But like this one is just literally like Brian said, you're walking down hallways, and you're going towards the end. And yeah, there's a story for some motivation, but it's presented in such a terrible way that unless you go hunting for all that info, you're not really going to get the full picture, and you're going to be left, as Brian said, wondering what just happened at the end. Like, I thought the end was kind of goofy too. I was like, what, that's it?
Well, I mean, the story, it wrapped up nicely, like the personal story, but I had no, like, what is Grand Pulse? What is Cocoon?
Right, you wanted to know more
Why
about the
are
world
they-
and the environment.
Yes,
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly.
It's been a while since I played the game, but do you guys, without actually exploring the submenu history data and stuff, do you actually know the motivation of the fal'Cie? Like, why they're doing what they're doing?
I'm
do.
sure.
I don't
I'm
remember
sure it
it.
explains.
Because that's like the biggest puzzle piece to put together, like that actually made the story good, in my opinion. So I don't even remember now.
It's been a long time since I played the first one.
If just
And the
playing
second
the main
two-
plot actually will deliver that information.
The second
to
two
you.
don't have much to do with the first one, so I didn't really. Those I remember more. But it's just not a Final Fantasy game to me. It does not give me the same feeling that all those other games got, and the music has a big part to do with that too. It was just very atmospheric. It's like Mass Effect, same thing. The music was good, but it wasn't front and center. It was just always kind of like,
right.
Unless you're looking at a cutscene, like you said.
Right.
That's when, obviously it's like, oh man, big picture, everything, blah, blah, blah. But when you're running through some of the fields and you got the la, 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 I'm like, really? No. Stop. Just turn off. Please. It's awful. And I mean, as far as cons go, other than linearity, it is a very well-made game. It's gorgeous.
One final thing, though, on your comment about it doesn't feel Final Fantasy. Could it have something to do with the fact that all the characters are flat out forced into the situation? Their personal motivations come second. They're not trying to. The quest that they're on is completely forced upon them, which, to my recollection, is not a staple of the Final Fantasy franchise. It felt different to me in tone. It felt like that nobody really wanted to go and do this. They didn't even really know what their mission was or what their goal was.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think that may have been a huge problem too. Yeah. The reason why it doesn't feel Final Fantasy. Because most of the game, people are just kind of traveling forward with absolutely no sense about what they're trying to do.
I could see that.
They're walking forward to find out what to do, and they don't even know if they will.
They're just walking forward. Can't go left or right.
Nope.
That would be another game.
Yeah, now, I mean, I personally like the tone of hopelessness that portrays, but
way to
it's
go, Matt.
not... I certainly agree with you. It is definitely not an example of Final Fantasy. So.
No, like I said, Final Fantasy XIII into the Final Fantasy series is like bringing sushi to a barbecue. Somebody's bound to like it, but does it really fit the theme?
Technically, it's edible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, last thing. I was not a fan of Lightning as a character. I'm not. I think she's flat. I think she is devoid of emotion, doesn't do anything, and the third game really shines with that. There's some crap that happens to her, and she's just like, I'm sad. I really am.
She's dead
Look
inside.
at my face. I really am sad.
She's dead inside.
And then she says stuff like, my tears fall into the chaos. What does that mean?
That's just bad dubbing.
What does that mean?
That's bad dubbing.
I don't know.
I bet that if you listen to it in the Japanese vocal track, it sounds fine.
It sounds like this.
Oh, and I'm sure I'll understand it, too, because I speak Japanese.
Well, you can...
Apology accepted. All right, Mark.
All right. So, most games are linear. Most Final Fantasy games are linear. Most platformers are actually linear.
Because you know where you're supposed to go.
Right,
You can go other places, but you know where you're supposed to go. Absolutely.
But the only games that are more linear than Final Fantasy XIII are racing games.
That's a good way to put it.
Actually, with racing games, you can actually turn around and go the opposite. I would say that Final
you
Fantasy
could turn
13
around.
is
You
more
could
linear.
technically turn around.
What racing game has a great story, though?
Yeah, I would say racing games are actually less linear than,
Great
than
story.
Final Fantasy 13. Because a lot of racing games have shortcut paths and
Yeah.
So
The best racing games actually are,
I mean,
are
I actually
more open-ended,
sent-
like Need for Speed Underground.
See, well, you're arguing against Final Fantasy XIII, but I actually
We're
sent
agreeing with
JJ a screenshot of the map because it was the most non-linear part I have experienced so far in the game, where you get to go off
any
on the
game.
left. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You can go off to the left and get a treasure chest, and then the path reconnects. It was pretty fantastic. Blew my mind.
you're like, oh my god, a branch.
And the plot seems interesting, but I don't understand what's going on.
Right.
Because of their Quentin Tarantino-esque plot delivery of, just 11 days ago, here's what happened. Oh, never mind. Back to the present. Here's what happened 10 days ago. Never mind.
Yeah.
Back to the present. So, super disappointing because I have no idea what's going on in the plot.
It is. It's extremely disappointing,
And-
especially if you're a old school Final Fantasy fan.
I'm having no fun exploring a world, and it takes 7 hours to even get a little bit of depth to the combat system in the game. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not having fun.
Right. See, and that's the thing, is a lot of the pros that I have with the game, and a lot of the pros that you guys have with the game, don't come into the game itself until way later on, until that
Which is
three-quarters
bad.
point where you get to Grand Pulse and actually get to do some exploring and hunts and all this stuff, and the combat system opens up. But you have to sit through this linear, just, hallway with nothing going on. And it's like, who's going to want to see? I mean, I don't know. It's like
Yep.
if I had a dog turd
Yeah.
on top of a bowl of cereal, and somebody was like, "Well, if you eat through the dog turd, you'll at least get the cereal on the bottom."
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and the cereal's
It-
good. So
The
it's like,
level
what?
the level design and linear was a definite misstep on Square Enix's part.
And I don't hate Lightning. I don't hate any of the characters, but I don't like them.
That's how I feel.
I'm
I don't
just,
hate
like,
her. I
completely-
just don't like any of them.
I'm
I
just
have no,
indifferent.
Right. I feel no attachment to any of them. None whatsoever. Even after all 3 games,
Yep.
because they make you play as somebody freaking different.
Whereas
The
the
other games.
the bland, crappy character from Far Cry 4, I already care about, and it's not even a great character.
No, it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
The whole point, like the design of the game the theme was fighting against fate. But I think when you are told that the characters have no choice, it takes away the feeling of attachment to them. Because it's like, oh, I'm not making a choice. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's interesting that I was able to develop a sense of empathy with a lot of the characters. I don't really know why that is. Maybe I like Lightning because I know some people in real life that act like that. I don't know. Like that introverted,
She's very typical.
hiding emotion,
Very soldier. She's
Yeah.
very soldier.
very
that's-
stoic.
I know people who were in the army that act just like her, who are like just stone walls. They've been in a war.
But that's the thing is like because she's not the first Final Fantasy character to do that.
Right.
Like you said, Cloud and Squall were the same way. I wasn't huge fans of them. I love the games,
Right.
but it wasn't because of Cloud and Squall.
It's just not your type of character.
It was the surrounding cast.
Sure.
And I think I've made this point before. The fact that the surrounding cast around Lightning isn't that great by themselves either is the fact that I'm like she just kind of shines forth, and I'm like, oh, she's the strongest one.
Yeah. Hope can jump.
Yeah,
off the cliff.
she's a believable character,
Yes.
Right.
but she's not an interesting one,
Right.
at least to me.
No, I feel the same way.
Honestly, Final Fantasy XIII needs to have a subtitle to it, Part 1, because it's not a complete game in and of itself. It just isn't.
Yeah.
You need to play the sequel games and see the evolution of the characters in order to give any justice to
Sure.
the original story that was trying to
The
be presented.
the only character that I really felt had any growth from the other 2 games was Hope. Literally. Because you don't see the other ones more than 15, 20 minutes.
I would say that like Fang and Vanille, their story's pretty much done after the first game, but
You do see Fang quite a bit in the 3rd one.
yeah, but their story's still pretty much done. But I argue differently. I think the Lightning does change quite a bit, but you apparently have a different experience. But I also see agony all over her face in the first game. You didn't see that at all. So
New. All right, well, so do we recommend it? Mark, you are the newcomer to the game. What do you think?
I actually do recommend it because I think everyone needs to see just how bad a JRPG can be.
Really nice. Now, keep in mind, guys, he didn't finish the game.
No.
So
No.
take it with a grain of salt. Like I said, a lot of the game opens up if you have patience.
Right.
Right.
That's the
I
problem.
believe
Yeah.
I believe that it gets better. It's
Yeah.
just a problem that it wasn't good to begin with.
Yeah.
I would say that Final Fantasy XIII is a very important game. I don't necessarily think that everyone should play it. I think that most people who are fans of JRPGs should play it eventually, because it does take leaps and bounds forwards in a lot of different areas. It tried a lot of new things, but overall, I think that what's really important is like, let's just say for anyone who wants to make video games or go to school for games or something like that, like what I did, you could teach an entire course based on this game. This is a perfect example of how things can go wrong, even the most minor of mistakes. And for those reasons, I think that a lot of people should play it so that they can understand like how bad things can get, and there's some silver lining in it that also makes it worth playing anyway.
I love how our strongest argument so far for playing the game is this is how bad things can get.
Right.
That's why you should play it. Like,
Yeah.
what? You guys are recommending this?
Well, I mean, like I said, if you can get through the first few hours of the game, it does.
Oh,
get
it's
better.
not a
No,
few.
not
Look,
the first
no,
few.
It's not a few.
No, for
Yeah.
me, I enjoyed the game as soon as I stopped using auto battle. As soon as I actually forced myself to start playing the damn game instead of just letting the game play itself, I actually had some fun with it. I was trying to get.
You don't even get summons until like 7 hours in.
And the summons suck.
Summons are awful.
I hate the summons.
That
in
would be
game.
another con. Motorcycle
Just give me a
summons
cutscene.
are not.
Give me a really awesome cutscene like in the other games. With the graphics we have now, let me summon and let it be like a sweet cutscene, do a huge explosion, done. Not a stupid motorcycle or a horse that I have to ride on.
That Titan summon in Final Fantasy 15.
Right? Give me
That's what I want.
A summon
That's
that's
what I
legitimate.
want.
Anyway, as for me, if you're I'm a patient gamer. I can handle it. I recommend it with the caveat that once you beat it, you'll be like, excellent. But even me, when I was playing it, I was like, is this it? Is this it? Okay, keep going. It's a pretty game. It's a beautiful game. You're basically playing a very long interactive movie. I do recommend it based on the characters. I did like them. So just keep in mind that when I recommend this, it's cheap enough now that if you made a mistake, you're only about $10-$20. So I recommend
It's
it with
worth
the
the
caveat that be patient with it and get through it. And you'll at the end of the journey, you'll be like, okay, that was worth it. During the time, you may question it, so keep that in mind. But for me, I do a tentative recommend.
I don't know how you guys felt about it, but like within 30 minutes of playing the game, to me, it just blatantly looked like the game wasn't done. That's just to me. So my expectations at that point just dropped to like such a small, low level that I was still able to play through it and enjoy it for
No,
what
I
it
didn't
was.
get that.
It was fine.
was fine.
It's just a slow game. Get slow
Yep.
pacing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
As far as recommending it for me, I recommend it if you're a Final Fantasy fan and you want to play all the games,
Yeah.
like me. I'm that's my series, has been since day one, and I'm a huge fan, so I will always play it.
It's your Suikoden 4.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is absolutely. But the only reason I would say to play it otherwise is because it's so cheap at this point.
Right.
If you're looking for a deep gameplay experience, I'm sorry, you're not going to find it here.
Nope.
It's just not going to be there.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a great story, you might find it if you do all the extra work to
Yeah.
look through the extra stuff. I cannot recommend it just as somebody who's looking to maybe try a new JRPG. I can't in good conscience do that.
Have your 4-year-old daughter play through the first 20 hours of the game. Then start playing it, and then you'll get your deep experience.
I would say if you like Matrix Revolution, then you'll like this game. Because it's beautiful, and it's pointless, and stupid. And if you like all that, go for it.
All right.
All right, there you have it. Final Fantasy XIII. We
Mixed-
kept it civil.
Mixed.
can
Mixed.
tell
No,
you guys
we're
right-
actually in agreement.
wasn't,
It's kind of a bad game.
I can tell you right now on the message boards before we recorded this, we were not in agreement at all. It was,
I was too sick to really yell at
a
Matt.
lot of screaming, a lot of caps.
Well, I mean, I have
Yeah,
different
fuck.
ways that I can look at games. From an objective standpoint, it's a bad game. From me being a Final Fantasy fan standpoint and also giving them a break because I thought the game wasn't done, I thought it was a pretty good game. And also, I did, in fact, enjoy a lot of it. I'm telling you, that auto battle button being there is the biggest detriment to that game. By far.
I want to control my other party members.
I agree. And I think that they should have done that in the
You
next
can't do
games.
that with an action.
But you see,
system,
the problem is like all that Square hears is that it's a terrible game. Then that means they just shouldn't do anything that they did from Final Fantasy 13. I don't want that. I want this combat. I want someone to pick up this combat system and make it good.
12 was better.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on.
Oh, them fighting words.
We are going to our top 5 games of 2014. See what I did there?
Loved it.
Because I write the show,
Yeah.
and I host it,
Yeah.
so I can
I loved
cut
it.
people off and do that.
I loved it.
I love you.
typical host.
Things are weird now,
Weird.
but not too weird. I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
cool.
like weirdly, I was
Yeah.
kind of like shaking my head, like, okay,
No,
cool.
absolutely, yeah. You didn't say it back though, which kind of hurt.
Well, here's the thing. Continue.
All right, so we're talking 2014, man. Last year. So before we get into our top 5 games of the year, what do you guys think of 2014 as a whole? Was it a good year for gaming?
A mixed bag.
Yeah, it was not as good as the previous year.
Yep.
I think that's just the nature of new consoles, though.
Honestly,
yeah, had a
I
lot of launch issues.
I still have a lot of games to play.
Oh, that's true, too.
I didn't get
sure.
a chance to play Shadows of Mordor.
I'm basing it on kind of the general feedback people gotten.
Right.
A lot of launch issues, a lot of unfinished games being pushed out to market quick.
There were a lot of games that, not a lot. There were games that came out like Shadows of Mordor, Far Cry 4, Dragon Age, all that stuff that came out. It just didn't seem like there were as many of those big hard hitting titles.
But
as
that's
normal.
And that's launched. That's
Exactly.
new console launch. Basically, sickness, I guess, is the word.
Do you think that's a? And this might go off into some really horrible tangent, but do you think that they're starting to spend more time focused on the consoles themselves rather than the games they're putting out?
No, I honestly think it's games now have become so complex. You need a team so big to create AAA games that timelines are stretched so far that
true.
they're having a lot of. I think a lot of companies are having a lot of problem finding the profit.
Yeah, and that's even what happened with Final Fantasy XIII.
Yeah,
They just had such a big team that it was hard to...
They couldn't agree on anything.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Took time.
Yep.
I still don't understand this whole design by committee thing that a lot of Japanese companies do. I don't get it. They need to have... Like, the reason why Final Fantasy 15 has a chance to be good is because Nomura doesn't put up with that. He just makes decisions.
Top 5 of 2014. Who's got honorable mentions? Anybody?
Yeah, I do. Child of Light. It's kind of a side-scrolling platformer with RPG elements in it. Haven't
Very,
seen
very
something like
excellent
that.
game.
Haven't seen something like that in a long time. Just wanted to give a shout-out to that game because I thought it was really, really good.
Absolutely, and made by the same studio, Valiant Hearts, as well.
Yeah. A lot of the core members for it actually worked on Far Cry 3. I found that out today. It was pretty cool.
Both fantastic games. If you haven't played them, they're short and they're gorgeous and they're side scrollers, and I'm not a fan of that, and so that should tell you something.
High praise.
So
and the story is good and understandable.
Yep, and that music, man,
Dat music.
phenomenal. My honorable mention is probably one that a lot of people won't agree with, but I liked Watch Dogs. I did. I thought it was a good game. I still do.
I don't have a legitimate opinion on it. I didn't play it because it looked stupid. That's it.
Watch Dogs unfortunately got the ire of the internet for some bugs, which all games have. But
Right.
it was the only big blockbuster out at the time, and the internet culture is all about that, counter. So it kind of got, pooped on.
Well, I mean, also, to be fair to me, it was developed by Ubisoft. Ubisoft I haven't been happy with them for quite a while. So, I don't like Assassin's Creed. I don't like it.
I don't want to be fair to you.
I kind of have a rule with Ubisoft, which is that I skip every other game in an installment.
No.
So
Watch Dogs 2 will be a good game.
exactly, that's what my theory is.
Maybe.
So I'll wait for that second one.
See, I thought Watch Dogs was a good game in itself. Either way,
Mark, counterpoint, Beyond Good and Evil.
That's from a different era.
not even remotely 2014 at
I'm
all.
just saying that his mantra is skip every other title of the
Jeez. Oh boy,
counterpoint.
he's a good boy. Good boy.
He is such a good boy.
Oh man, anybody else? Honorable mentions?
Nope.
I think everything else
I
is pretty
honestly
much on our
haven't
list.
played that many games in 2000, and you'll see that by my list.
I was disappointed by a lot of games this year.
It's because you probably didn't play.
Why didn't we do an episode on that?
Titanfall,
That's true.
the one that Matt really wanted to like that I didn't like.
Yeah, that one.
I don't know what you're talking about,
I
bro.
don't know what you're talking about.
I'm
either.
sorry.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's get
Oh,
going.
Sunset Overdrive.
That's right.
Here we go.
Yeah, the first game that Insomniac's made in quite some time that apparently is not very good.
Well, it depends
All
on who
right.
you ask.
Quiet in the
Here we
studio.
go. All right, moving on. I will start us off. Why not?
Why not?
You know what? No, Matt, you're the new guy. You start us off.
Matt, go.
Sounds good. My number 5, Divinity Original Sin. I think that Marcus talked
Yeah,
about this
I've played some of that, yeah.
sometime last year. I'm kind of surprised I didn't see it at least on your honorable mentions list. I love
Well,
this game.
You're covering it.
It's kind of a throwback to the old school roguelike RPGs like Baldur's Gate and stuff. I don't know what it is, but I think the fact that it's a Kickstarted game set my expectations really low, and I was
That
just
could
blown
be.
away by the production values of it. Despite the fact that it was just a small studio game.
I own it, but haven't played it. Looking forward to it.
You really should when you can find time. It's really good.
I think you'll love the combat.
I love the.
I'll get it when it's on Steam sale because I won't play it for a while.
Yeah, it's
So
sit-
I might
it's
as well
been
just wait
sitting
till
in
it's
my-
$5.
It's been sitting in my backlog.
I'll go next.
Okay.
My number 5 is Bravely Default. Great game. Honestly, it's not on my list because of how good it is as a game. It's mainly on there because of the impact that it made in letting Square Enix and everybody else know JRPGs are a thing, and people do like them, and they do like turn-based battles still, and they will sell well if you make them the right way, which this game did.
I'm still confused why Square didn't even understand that beforehand. Like Persona 3 and Persona 4. Like, really?
Because a lot of well, for handheld for one, Persona 3 and 4 weren't handhelds, were they? 4 I think was on the Vita.
They eventually went
but
handheld, yeah, but I don't get it. Like the JRPG shouldn't have fallen off the face of the planet, and for some reason it did. I don't know why it did.
It made waves, and the fact that Bravely Second is going to be coming out soon is super exciting, and I can't wait for it. And man, Bravely Default on 3DS. If you haven't checked it out and you are curious about JRPGs and that old school feel,
bam,
that game has it.
Yeah, so play FF13 and then play Bravely Default.
That way you'll feel
Just to
better
see the
about
contrast.
yourself. Yeah. Mark.
All right. My number 5 is Super Smash Bros. Wii U. And mainly, this is a testament to how much I hated last year. There are a lot of other games that I thought would be on this list, but they just weren't good enough. And what do I need to say about Super Smash Bros.? They're basically all the same game, but they're always so much fun to play with your friends.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. There you go.
Yeah, I would argue that they actually somehow found a way to make it better.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And Brian's number 5 is Destiny. Destiny had fantastic console shootery, horrible story. It's one of only 2 original games on my list. I have a lot of DLC and expansions. I didn't get around to playing a whole lot of the games in 2014, unfortunately. They're in my backlog. But Destiny was a testament to Bungie's ability to craft a shooter on the console. They just needed to work on the story. So
we had a blast playing that together.
It was very fun. The combat was... JJ even said on the headset, holy crap, these controls are tight. Like, very...
It was very intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm kind of curious what held them back from putting the story elements in the game. They should have utilized like Kickstarter or something to like, hey, we would like to
Maybe
put
they
the
just
story
wanted
in
to
the
bring
game.
people to their website.
Yeah.
Bungie's always had
really
integrated
weird.
stuff on their website. They used to do that with Halo.
Halo,
They're like, go to our website, check your stats,
Yep.
and everything like that. They've always been really big on that.
I gotta say, it's a bad decision to
It
have
was.
a story.
It's
on
goofy.
the website.
It's goofy, but the gameplay was great enough that, and the graphics were beautiful enough that it's definitely on my list. Top 5. Number 5.
All right, are we back to me already? Wow, that was quick. All right, my number 4 is actually on someone else's list later, so we'll talk about it then.
What is your number 3?
Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls.
Okay.
All right. My number 4 is also on somebody else's list. South Park: The Stick of Truth. We'll talk about it then.
My number 4, Far Cry 4, is also on someone else's list, so we'll talk about it soon.
My number 4 is not on anybody's list. It's World of Warcraft expansion, Warlords of Draenor, which brought the orcs back. I don't know. I was trying to go for a really catch line, but didn't work. Dude, it's awesome. You get garrisons, new narrative, really interesting storytelling, awesome cutscenes, beautiful. This is probably the best artwork Blizzard's done in an expansion. The instances are good, the dungeons are good, the raids are fun, the boss fights are fun. We killed Iron Maidens last night, and we all screamed on vent because it was such an exciting kill. So
This would have been one of my honorable mentions if you didn't have it on your list.
Yeah.
Simply because, like I said, I'm taking a break from it.
Sure.
But if you are into the lore, this game brought it back and
Oozing.
brought it home.
Yeah.
And even bigger than that, I've never appreciated a lot of the music in WoW, but the song that goes on in Spires of Iraq is amazing.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how good of a song that is.
Yep. So there we go. That's my number 4.
Matt, number 3.
My number 3 is Lightning Returns.
JJ, all right, number 2.
Final Fantasy XIII.
I didn't have any chips, otherwise I would have totally been all over
Look,
that.
it's on my list because I finally got the game that I felt like that delivered the gameplay that we were looking for. Even you, JJ, can admit that the gameplay got a lot better.
Absolutely.
In Lightning Returns. I enjoyed almost everything about it, except for maybe the fact that at the beginning of the game it's a little stressful handling the time limit until you get a hold on it and you're able to like freeze time and stuff like that.
I honestly, I sped up the end of the game. I had like 4 days left, and I was like, Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but like the way it's presented at the beginning of the game, you're like, oh my god, I only have a limited time.
Yeah,
I
and
was
I think
stressed
that
out
can be a
little bit,
turnoff
so-
for people too.
So yeah, once I got over that hump, though, I really, really like this game.
Oh, what, a Final Fantasy XIII game starting off slow and not making you want to finish it? Weird.
Patterns are recognized.
Hey, at least it's consistent.
When patterns are recognized, they are recognized.
No, honestly, Matt's 100% right on this. It's each game in the trilogy, honestly, I think improves upon the last. I would have liked to have more party members in Lightning Returns, but the game was centered around lightning. Oh, God. But the combat system was 1,000 times better. I really enjoyed it, and honestly, I like the what do they call the switching your classes and stuff in that game?
I can never remember what it's called.
Paradigm shift?
No,
No.
because it was something different.
Different?
This one, you actually like.
Was it called Grimlim Saggers?
It is in true Final Fantasy sequel fashion. You change your outfits.
Well, yeah, fabulous.
Yeah. But it works really well the way they did it, and I thought it was actually very well done.
Cool.
So, nice choice. Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13. My number 3 is Far Cry 4, but it shows up later on somebody else's list, so we'll talk about it then. Mark?
My number 3 is Halo, the Master Chief Collection. And I'm probably being too kind to it with all of the bugs that have been riddling
I've heard
it
the
since
single
it came
player
out.
is not bad.
It is fantastic. The Halo 2 remastered is some of the best looking stuff on the Xbox One right now.
I can tell you if I get an Xbox One, this will be the first game I get.
Yep.
It's just the value you get for so cheap. And going back and playing Halo 2 multiplayer again after all these years just reminds me that, man, that's still some of the best multiplayer
Yes.
FPS gameplay that has been made.
Except for that stupid sword.
Is
Can
the sword
die
Oh, yeah,
still
the sword's
ridiculous?
a little
and it
over the top.
Can die in a fire.
What's that?
Is it still ridiculous, the sword?
Yeah, it's still ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
I
other
don't-
than that,
I always died way too much because I didn't really shoot people that often. All I would do was try to get the sticky grenades on somebody
well, it's,
because I thought it was funny.
It's hilarious.
pretty
And
fun.
That was all I would try to do.
I would spend so much time just driving the Warthog to that little
Yes,
windmill
absolutely.
and letting it get flipped over. So much fun. But
All right.
fantastic game.
Mark's number, what was that, your 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mark's number 3, Halo, the Master Chief Collection. Brian, your number 3 is the same as my number 4.
Yeah, let's talk about South Park Stick of Truth real quick. I haven't laughed as hard in a game since Day of the Tentacle, which is out on goodoldgames.com. Please pick it up and play it. It's a point-and-click adventure game, but it's got some of the funniest humor until South Park Stick of Truth. I don't know about you, JJ, but I was smiling and laughing the whole time.
It's just like watching an episode. I was
Yeah.
dying.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have you either one of you two played it?
No, I haven't yet. I know I need to.
Phenomenal. It really is. And it's not long. It's
No,
a short game.
It's a good, but it's so funny, so good, and it's a very polished game too. Feels
Absolutely.
like South Park, plays like South Park. Very standard turn-based RPG.
You played it on PC, right?
Yes.
So you probably had a lot less bugs than
I
I did.
had no bugs. It was one of the most polished games.
I played it right around release on PS3. I mean, it's still playable and still a great game, but there were definitely some hiccups in there. Man, it's just a really, really good time.
It's a love letter to South Park fans.
Absolutely. If you're a South Park fan, there's so many references in there. It's
Oh, it's
unbelievable.
ridiculous.
Even if you're not a South Park fan and you just like RPGs, this has something for you.
I'm Katata Fish.
It's yeah, I can't say enough good things about it.
It's great.
It was a great game.
Yep.
All right, number 2. Matt's number 2 is the same as Mark's number 4 and my number 3. What is that game, Matt?
That game is probably going to be Far Cry 4. I was about to say 3. Well, I wish it was Far Cry 3, but Far Cry 4 is really good,
It
too.
takes place in a different location.
It does.
What's that fictional country, Matt?
I don't remember.
This one? In 4?
Yeah, it's Kirat.
Kirat?
Kilat.
Not Kilat.
It's Kilat.
No, it's not.
Kilat.
That's just not how it's pronounced.
What's the bad guy's name?
Kyrat. Kirat.
What was the bad guy's name? In
Anyways,
Pagan
I don't even
Men.
remember that. Oh, that was it. I didn't remember
Yeah, see,
that.
I've been playing a lot.
Well, man, it's highest up on your list. What do you think of it?
Well, I love the way that it's designed. The reason why it's on my list is because Far Cry, every single time, they never come short of amazing me at how well they design an open world. Like it's the most believable world that I've ever seen. That's basically why it's there.
Okay.
Okay.
Mark?
I really like some of the little additions that have been added to this game, like auto drive.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
You were excited about that when you
Yeah,
first.
it's pretty fantastic.
I get a message from him on Facebook which says auto drive in all caps. I was like, yeah, he's playing Far Cry 4.
Then you can go pee.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I do that.
Yeah,
but,
you can still get shot at and
No,
stuff on the
that's
way.
true.
but just being able to hit auto drive and know you're going to get where you're going, and the grappling hook is awesome as well.
Yep.
It's kind of like a fast travel for people who don't want to fast travel.
Yeah,
Have you gotten to use the single one man flying
Yeah,
machine thing?
it's pretty insane.
That thing is cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the story is not the greatest in the world. It's forgettable. And maybe it is good if you just play it straight through, doing only story missions. But there was so much side stuff, I didn't even care. I
Yeah.
just wanted to go in there, and I just wanted to have fun in the big old sandbox.
And
All
the,
I can care about is going and taking over outposts.
Absolutely.
I've just
Yep.
the solutions to problems seem very off the cuff to me a lot. That was another thing that kind of grabbed my eye when, you would use C4 to blow up a bear
Oh, yeah.
when you have nothing else that you can think of that's going to be able to stop it. You're just like, wow, okay, I guess that works.
Yeah, I had so much fun with this game, and I played it almost. I mean, I beat it, but I think I got like 92% of everything. So
Nice.
I'm right at the end there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right. Anybody got anything else to say about Far Cry 4?
Still have to play it.
I wish its story was as good as 3. That's about it.
All right. My number 2 was going to be my number 1 until I played another game recently. Mario Kart 8 is my number 2.
Mercury.
No, obviously not a story-focused game, but Nintendo hit this one out of the park.
They needed to.
I mean, this game is phenomenal. I've always been a fan of the Mario Kart series. They're all really good, but this one I think really just does everything right that all the other games did, and doesn't, one of those situations where it doesn't fix what isn't broken. Adding in the anti-gravity and making the tracks, like when you're going down a track and you're driving straight, and then you see somebody else on the ceiling driving in the opposite direction. That's just so cool. Man, it's just freaking Mario Kart amped up.
Yeah.
You have to play it. I can't really even put it into words because it's just that good. But I mean, kudos to Nintendo for putting out a wonderful, wonderful game, and I'm still not tired of it.
Nice.
So I told Brandon this is one of the games I was going to get him to get hooked on, so we can stop
I'll play some Mario Karts with
bashing
you.
on Nintendo. Like we had a lot of people comment on what Brandon was saying.
Yeah, Brandon. He induced the ire of the Nintendo fanboy.
We've been asking for hate mail for how long?
Yeah.
Brandon comes on once.
And boom.
Some people are like, that guy has no idea what he's talking about. So that's my number 2, Mario Kart 8. Mark.
My number 2 is
and Brian's.
also Brian's number 2.
Hey,
And my number 4.
And that's number 4.
yeah. Okay, let's talk about guys. Go ahead, Mark.
Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls.
They
Reaper of
fixed
Souls.
Diablo. Yeah,
Literally-
And I have to admit,
No, go.
I have to admit, I can't distinguish between the original game and Reaper of Souls because I got it all at the same time.
Right.
Yep.
So
This game is a testament to why Blizzard, and I don't care about what you think, they're the best gaming company around. It's honestly not close. They made a game. They messed up. Okay. The original iteration of Diablo had a lot of issues. They had a real money auction house, which was a good idea in theory, but made the game just didn't want to play it. Like I went online once all the gear got really cheap, bought all my legendaries, and I was like, I don't need to play the game anymore. I just need to set my character. And the fun about the old Diablo games was doing runs, Baal runs, doing Mephisto runs. And so what they do, they literally released an X pack and changed the whole game. It said, okay, bye-bye real money auction house. That was a mistake. Sorry, done, cut. Here's what we do. We're going to make an adventure mode where you literally do runs and rifts to get gear.
Oh yeah, Nephilim Rifts.
It's
pretty awesome.
It's almost mind-blowing that they literally said, yeah, we messed up. We're just going to go ahead and make it the way it should be. And they did. They put resources into it. They changed the game around completely. And honestly, I got addicted. Like, I played the first part of it, and I was like, it's okay. But then I got re-addicted to it when they released Reaper of Souls. That's why it's on my list so high.
I think one of the things that makes Blizzard so successful is they're fans of their own games. They're not just salesmen. They're not just up there being like, "Hey, we got this new game coming. You should totally check it out because we put a lot of work into it, and
we don't really
it's going to be
play
really good." And blah blah
Like,
blah.
Blizzard North went dead silent, radio silence for 2 weeks, and Blizzard Central had to have someone drive up there to find out what was going on because they weren't returning their phone calls.
Right.
And they just went in there and everyone was just like, oh, what? Oh, we've just been playing the game. Sorry.
Yeah, they were playing what, Diablo
I'm serious.
2?
It's a true story. Yeah, they were playing Diablo 2.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
I mean, that's good to know.
yeah. They're gamers that make games for gamers.
For gamers by gamers.
Pretty much, that's their motto, and
Yeah.
that's what they're like. JJ said, they're not out there peddling their. I don't play games, but this is a great game. It's
Right.
like they. I mean, honestly, if you hear some of them talk about their games, they are the utmost passionate. You know, they take it personally. They want their games to be badass and fun, and they will create a game to release and then be like, sit at a table and go, this game's not fun, and then they'll drop it.
Yeah, StarCraft Ghost.
Yeah. So
The amount of money that they
I
just
know.
pissed away.
Yeah.
I can't believe they did that, but it was probably the smartest decision
Yeah.
that any game
and that's
company's ever
Blizzard,
made.
and that's why Reaper of Souls is so high on my list.
Yeah.
I literally got re-addicted to a game I bought a year ago.
I thought the plot was really good too.
It was
I mean, it's
really
typical like nonsensical Diablo
Yeah.
plot, but just all those details being in Act 4
Yeah.
of the original game about the missing angel
And then
all
boom.
that stuff. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
Malthael, yeah. That was a very good game.
And it really appealed to my sense of OCD, where I'm just so obsessed with the different gear that I get.
Yeah.
Just sorting through everything, looking at all the different stats.
Yep.
For me, a personal touch was also finding the books of lore all over the place that were all voice acted, and the voice acting was incredible
Yeah.
on all of them.
Yep. Standard
All right.
Blizzard. Okay.
Number ones. Matt, you and I have the same one.
Sure do.
Dragon Age Inquisition.
The reason why it's my number one, this game shocked me. I can't believe how good it is.
You weren't a fan of BioWare.
I have not been a fan of BioWare for a long time, since pretty much the Baldur's Gate days.
You need to play
Although
Mass Effect.
the Mass Effect series is pretty much going to change my mind on that. But honestly, Dragon Age 2 was super disappointing, and everyone that I don't know a single person who really enjoyed playing it, except maybe you guys.
I admit I have not played the
I
second
haven't
one. I've
played
only
the second
played the
one.
first one.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't have any expectations for Dragon Age Inquisition at all, and I was telling, my friends online, just like, I don't know, I don't even think you should waste your time with it. And then it came out, and I want to go home and play more. That's how I feel. I just want to I want to play this game and never stop. I'm just trying to get stuff done so I have time to play it.
I picked it up earlier. Well, I picked it up the end of last year, but I only started playing it in like the beginning of January, and I mean, right from the get go, I was telling you guys like this game is amazing. It really, really is. There's just so much going on. You've got these rifts that are opening up in the sky with demons pouring out. Then you've got the war between the Templars and the mages, and then you've got your Inquisition trying to kind of be in the mediator between everything.
Right.
And there's all these little side stories, typical BioWare fashion.
Sure.
All over the place. You've got your characters and stuff. I'm not really a huge fan of the cast of characters, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's not Mass Effectian.
It's... I don't know. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it, to be honest with you.
But for me, like, there's still 90 hours of that level of gameplay, and apparently it never slows down. That's what I understand.
There's a lot to do. Yeah. I honestly thought I was pretty far, and then there was a big, huge battle and some plot twists and crazy stuff happening, and I was like, oh, I feel like I've just started now. Great.
I'm also appreciating a lot of the throwbacks to old school BioWare stuff that's in this game. A lot of the mechanics, it's hard to explain, but the style of the way the mechanics are presented will remind you of the old school, like Icewind Dale and Baldur's Gate games.
Right.
Yep.
But it has the new flair and action elements of the Dragon Age series. So.
Quick 2 seconds. We have Origins. We've got Drage 2, and now we've got Inquisition.
Brian, everybody.
I'm never
That's
going to
Brian.
remember those names,
Yep,
Brian.
That's
so.
Brian.
Hi, guys.
Anyways, my game of the year, hands down, for 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition. Mark, number one, sir.
My number one is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. And I actually wrote a review of this. You can go see it on our website,
It's quite good.
fmgaming.net. This game is fantastic. It's so good that Ken Levine, creator of BioShock and BioShock Infinite, said that it shocked him and changed his perspective on how you can design emergent storylines in games.
That's pretty high praise.
That's probably one of the best compliments that you can get right now in
Yeah.
the industry.
The Nemesis system is just incredible. the way it has randomly generated enemies that have unique personalities that remember what you've done to them over the course of the game.
Kind of sounds like what DC Universe was going for.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Go read my review if you want to know more.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It is
I
a
think the
good
only
movie.
reason that the three of us don't have it on there is I don't
I
think
haven't
we've
played it. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Yeah, it's probably going to be way better
I own
Yeah.
it, but I haven't played
because
it.
there was room for improvement.
Brian, number one.
My number one's a DLC, but it's a DLC from one of the best games I've ever played, The Last of Us. It's the story Left Behind, shows Ellie's origins with her friend. Gonna keep it short and simple. It has the same production values as the original game. Storytelling's phenomenal. I mean, Naughty Dog, man. Whew. Number one.
Naughty Dog.
Game of the year. DLC worth the purchase.
All right, so there you have it. Our top 5 games of 2014. I am super excited for 2015. I think this is going to be
Great time to be a
year
gamer.
to watch.
Great time to be a gamer.
Absolutely. Once again, I want to mention SoPro Gaming. If you get the chance and you've got just a couple extra bucks, really they would appreciate any support that you can give. It's awesome. They do have a website up. It's kind of under construction right now, but you can kind of see what they're going for. It's soprogaming.com. And you can link to their Kickstarter right there, or you can just go to Kickstarter and do a search for SoPro Gaming. Go check them out. It's legit.
Good stuff.
They're good people, and they are doing some things that we wholeheartedly support. So we want to see the hobby expand, and these guys are their heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
So anybody have anything else for this episode?
I'm good.
The Matastrophe is now going to sign off.
Oh, that was the cheesiest thing I've ever heard in my
Hey, you
life.
came up with
Hold
the
on.
name.
Here we go.
Ever. It was your delivery of it.
Yeah. It should have been like this. Matastrophe!
Yes, that would have been way better.
He's a good boy.
Absolutely, he's a good boy.
It should have been like this. Matastrophe's signing off.
Mark, feel better. And if you get me sick, I'm going to write you an evil...
Whoa!
I support it.
You are going to
I'll
get
sign
sick.
it, too.
You are all
Everyone
going to get sick.
needs to write hate
Yeah.
mail to Mark for getting Brian sick.
You're both getting sick too.
That's not cool.
That's
not cool, man.
That is not happening.
All right, with that, this is the Frozen North signing off. My name is JJ.
My name is Mark.
And my name is Brian.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks again, and as always, keep
Gaming.
Our theme song was made available through the Creative Commons Attribution license by Ziphoid. The song title is Radical Fanfare.